You know you need fiber for a healthy gut, but do you actually know how to get it? Quaker's been serving up fiber since 1877, with over 100 great-tasting, good source of fiber options to choose from. Whether you like old-fashioned oats, instant oatmeal, granola, or oatmeal squares, Quaker makes it delicious. So good. Get your fiber with Quaker. Shop Quaker's good source of fiber products at a store near you.
Amazon presents Jeff versus Taco Truck Salsa. Whether it's Verde, Roja, or the orange one. For Jeff, trying any salsa is like playing Russian roulette with a flamethrower. Luckily, Jeff saved with Amazon and stocked up on antacids, ginger tea, and milk. Habanero? More like habanero, yes. Save the everyday with Amazon.
You're listening to Achtung Millwall.
Hello, dear listeners. Welcome to Achtung Millwall. My name is Nick Hart. You're listening to number one Millwall podcast, of course, and it is Monday with Merv. Here's the man himself, Merv Payne. How are you, Merv?
I'm good, thanks, Nick. Yep.
It has been, Merv, a weekend of clarification, I think, in the Championship. Results for, obviously, Lions drawing 0-0 up at West Brom Friday night. But other results elsewhere, Ipswich have won and Wrexham have lost. It's starting to make the top six slightly solidify. I mean, there's still games to go. Yeah. 4 games to go, Merv. Yeah. But that the playoff zone is now looking to be fairly consistent. I mean, obviously the Lions are in third position after that 0-0 draw at West Brom. And Ipswich look like they're in the driving seat for the second position. I think we have to be realistic on that front, Merv. How do you see it, mate?
Yeah, definitely. It's funny. I think we say this every year, but this sort of time of the year, the whole sort of thing changes really quickly. I think only a couple of weeks ago, the Sky were banging on about how many teams still had a chance of the playoffs. It went right down to like Sheffield United or something ridiculous, you know.
Yeah.
And then suddenly, it's the stragglers fall away. I mean, people were talking about Norwich because of the form they're on. They can't catch us now. And literally,
they came up short against Norwich, against Ipswich, didn't they? In the East Anglian
Derby. I was hoping the same Norwich would turn up at the Den the week before.
No such luck, mate.
No. So that's annoying. But yeah, I mean, and I think spirits were perhaps a little low Friday night, Saturday morning after a 0-0 at West Brom. But as it turned out, it turned out to be a really good point because with Wrexham, Hull losing,
Borough have gone to pieces a little bit, haven't they?
Yeah.
Late winner for Pompey there.
And I think it leaves us. I mean, we've said for quite a while now, haven't we, that we felt 75 points was the target.
Yeah, and we're in touching distance of it now.
76 will guarantee us a playoff place, and that's only if Wrexham and Wrexham in all their games, which I don't think is going to happen. And they look. I watched the game against Birmingham. They looked really shattered.
That looks big. I mean, there's a 4-point gap between Hull City now in 6 and Wrexham in 7. That looks a big 4 points with just 4 games to go.
Their body language, because obviously they got walloped 5 on at home to Southampton last week as well. But their body language at the end, it looked really resigned. I know we'll talk later about how sort of tired or whatever Millwall was starting to look at this stage of the season. But yeah, it was more mentally, they looked like they'd given up. I mean, and they've got to play Coventry. They've got Coventry winners for the last 2 games, so I don't see them getting maximum points. So I think we have, because it's important that we make that playoff place certain as soon as possible, I think. And I was chatting a lot about this over the weekend, because obviously the big debate is, we can still get second. Let's push for second. And I'm thinking after the Pompey game defeat, Alex Neil said that he felt that perhaps both on and off the pitch we were getting a bit too far ahead of ourselves, and I'm wondering if perhaps the whole second place challenge, I wonder if it's got into their heads. It's certainly got into the fans' heads, isn't it? Because suddenly you're thinking, oh wow.
Well, there was a lot of disappointment knocking around online, wasn't there, after a 0-0 draw at the Hawthorns Friday night.
And I'm as much to blame. I was obviously gutted at losing at home to Blackburn and Norwich, because you think, that's our chance of second place.
Yeah.
But as a lot of other people have quite rightly pointed out, this time last year, we'd have been so happy with a playoff place.
Well, I was just doing a few notes before you came on, Merv. I just think about that very, very point, and I wanted to make this a positive edition, and we always try and keep it positive, you and me, don't we?
Yeah, I think so.
And there's obviously we're all fans, and I would have given my right arm to have got into second position because it takes away the fraughtness of playoff football. But I mean, we've aspired to get into the playoffs for 25 years, and you and me are both old enough to remember last time that we got into the championship level playoffs back in 2002, and we've come close a few times. I was just looking at those seasons where we came close. So they're the most recent seasons, really. That's 2017 to 18, which is under Neil Harris. That was actually a late run into sixth spot before we came up short against Fulham. I remember the game 3-0 home loss.
I do, yeah.
And then we faded away to 8th. That really took the wind out of our sails, that home defeat.
Yeah.
So you got that one. We finished 8th that season, listeners, under Neil Harris. 2019 under to 20 under Gary Rowett. We had that famous 3-0 win on TV at Nottingham Forest, took us into 7th position.
Yeah.
So we didn't actually touch the playoff zone, but we were certainly looking down the barrel of it. And then, of course, COVID struck, and we never adapted to the post-COVID empty stadium. I don't know if anyone really did, but that took us away from it. We finished 8th that season. And then, of course, 22-23, again, under Gary Rowett. It actually got us close twice. We're actually in 5th place. I'd forgotten this, Merv. We were in 5th place in early April, and then we faded a little bit. And it culminated in that dramatic 3-4 loss at home to Blackburn Rovers, which anyone that was there will never forget. So, again, we kind of got close. 3 times we got close and faded. Now, contrast that with this season, Merv. We won at QPR last October, and largely speaking, I think we popped out into 7th a couple of times. We've been in the top 6 since October.
Yeah.
With 1 or 2 little dips out, but not many. That's some achievement, and I think now we're going to get close to solidifying the playoff football, which has been, as I've said, it's an aspiration for 25 years. That's a pretty good season.
Yeah, definitely. And you're saying about being positive, and obviously people are saying, well, we're literally a point off of second place, and we could do it.
We are.
But I think in order I think in order to do that, though, we've got to really push ourselves. That the players have got to really, they've got to go all out for it.
Yeah.
And as Alex Neil even admitted, the second half at West Brom, he said the players' legs are gone. Coburn had to come off with cramp, and Sturridge had to come off with cramp, and these players they're getting a bit. Some of them are getting criticised as well for performances. I'm seeing like Aziz and Kramer getting criticised, and I think they're literally putting everything into it because they're obviously so desperate to get into the play. And I think for me, perhaps the worst. I started realising the worst case scenario would be to go hell for leather for second place, fall short because Ipswich have got those 2 games in hand.
Yeah.
And when the playoffs come round, the team are just physically and mentally
burned out.
And you see it quite a lot. I mean, every playoff campaign in every division is different, but you do see similar scenarios, and you do see teams. Last season, for example, Sunderland, they finished 4th. They were never really in with a shout of second place.
The automatics, yeah.
They were never really in with that. Sheffield United were the one that was right till close to the end. They were desperate for second place, missed out, and they faded in the playoffs. Sunderland, meanwhile, were comfortable in the playoffs for most of the season, and very, very similar to how we've been this season.
Yeah.
And I remember when we were hoping for miracles on the last day, we needed to win at Burnley, didn't we? And
that's right.
Results ago. I remember looking quite enviously at Sunderland, thinking, well, they've been assured a playoff place for a couple of weeks now, and they can prepare. So I think for me right now, that's the best scenario. If Ipswich had played the same amount of games as us, I'd be saying, second place is up for grabs, but they hold all the cards. They're in second place, so they've got the points in the bag and they've got the games in hand. They've got a couple of tricky games, but they're very good at home, and they've got that benefit of the strong squad which you need at this stage of the season.
Well, you do. We don't have much depth. That's the thing that struck me. West Brom.
I suggested over the weekend that we'd be better off if Ipswich won at Pompey on Tuesday, beat Middlesbrough next Saturday. And then we can forget about
it settles matters, doesn't it?
But if we beat QPR, we're in the playoffs, And Alex Neil can then start to really genuinely rest and rotate his team.
Get some prepping. Yeah.
Yeah, actually. And of course, don't forget, we've got one of the best in the business when it comes to playoffs. We've got a manager there that's won playoffs with 3 different teams out of the 6 I think he's managed. So he's someone who, and I mentioned this last week, I can imagine secretly, obviously he won't admit this, but I can imagine secretly he's already making very big plans for a playoff campaign. And the championship's mental. And I said, I got to stick to that. I said, it wouldn't surprise me if Middlesbrough go to Ipswich next Saturday and beat them 3-0, because that's mad. Don't think it'll happen, but it wouldn't actually surprise. It'd be a major shock because the form Middlesbrough are in and the form Ipswich are in. But that is the way this division goes. And as people have rightly said, there could be a lot of twists and turns yet, but Ipswich have got to really capitulate.
Yeah, they've got to fall to pieces. Yeah.
They have got a superior goal difference. They've got 2 games in hand. They're bang on form, and they're getting a bit of the luck of the draw with decisions as well. As I think, again, that was a hot topic on social media over the weekend. Whether I buy into it totally or not, I don't know. But yeah, I think you've got to be pragmatic. I
agree. I mean, I think they played tomorrow night. I think they played Portsmouth tomorrow night.
Yeah, Pompey away tomorrow night is the first of the 2 games in hand. The other one is Southampton, but that's on the second to last game. That's the midweek before the last week. So
we'll see. I mean, there'll be a big result tomorrow. I mean, if they get a win, then that probably does start to settle matters pretty much. Yeah. Not impossible, listeners, but we've got to be grown ups here and start to think about the playoffs. And I'll make you right, Merv. I mean, someone posted, I think it was in the wake of the 0-0 draw, about the loss of form of the side. There were moments on Friday where we looked a bit leggy and a bit tired. Second half for the most part, and on other occasions, but. So I think I made the point, one win in 5, I think it is. But I think you got to throw into the mix there. The one win was a absolutely heroic win at Middlesbrough, where, as to use your point, nothing was left out there. I mean, the players were dead on their feet by the end of that. And in a similar vein at Ipswich, where we took the game to the form side of the division and went very, very close. And again, these games have a draining effect, in my opinion, because you see it in the kind of post the next game. I mean, Blackburn, I think, preceded Ipswich, but certainly the Norwich game, we just looked a little bit empty, like running on an empty tank of petrol.
People used to sort of scoff when you use the big excuse or the reason tiredness, but as Alex Neil rightly said, that's 3 massive games they've had to play in 8 days. The Sky Sports are mucking about with the kickoff, bringing them forward. And it is hard to give your all. You take it in any other sport. You expect an athlete to do a personal best every heat they run in the Olympics. Well, they won't do it. They'll have to conserve something, or there's only so much they can give at any one time. And we have to remember as well, the squad is actually, in terms of either age or experience at this level, quite green.
Absolutely. Yeah,
we're not packed full of seasoned championship players who've done playoff campaigns and played for years in the championship. A lot of our players are in their first full season in the championship. A lot of them are quite young, and that's going to take its toll. It's not excuses. It is. It's because it's one of the most challenging leagues in football.
Absolutely,
and this is why Southampton and Norwich and Ipswich are finding these gears late in the season, because they've got big squads, big sort of parachute payment funded squads. So they can afford, they've got lots more fresh legs than we have. And that's why I think it's really important to sort of just get over the line playoff-wise as soon as possible.
Yeah, and then start to focus. I think our first choice 11, if we can get them healthy and with batteries fully charged up to 100%, they're a match for anybody in the division, in my opinion. Our problem comes when we're having to bring players in. I mean, we obviously started on Friday with Coburn and Ivanovic up front. But when they were running out of petrol, then we're bringing in dear old Macaulay. And I like Macaulay, but he's a player that's come from National League 2. Yeah. And it's that point you just made. This is top level championship football.
It is.
One of Europe's biggest leagues, to play in. And we just don't seem to have the certainly the goal scoring depth, but also some of the other positions. I think we just looked a little bit. Like the materials wearing away slightly in places, but that's not to knock the achievements of the squad, Merv. I think
no. No,
I was listening
definitely
to
not.
Alex Neil's post-match comments, and he said they've done magnificently well. I've got to agree with him. This is a huge achievement. I think I can't stress that enough to listeners,
No.
especially younger listeners that I think maybe don't really appreciate just how far we've come and how close we are now to the big time. It's it's got to be done. We've got to do
Yeah.
it. Yeah, we've got to get over the line. But this is one of the big seasons, so I think we've got to try and enjoy it as best we can, as far as you can ever enjoy playoff football. So I think that's where
Yeah.
we're going to be destined for.
And we've also
Um,
got to remember it wasn't that long ago. It was only 2 years ago that we were fighting to stay in the division.
yeah,
And,
absolutely.
thanks to Neil Harris, we stayed up. So the progress since then has been amazing, and that's what's key. I think is I made the point over the weekend of Coventry. I think Coventry 3 years ago finally got to. They were knocking on the door of the playoffs for a while. They finally got to them. Lost the final to Luton. Lost 2 of their star players in Gyökeres and Hamer. But obviously reinvested that money. But then it's taken them a couple of years for that to sort of bear fruit, and now they've walked the league. I'm not saying we can do that because it gets tougher every year, and every season you've got other teams with money to
But
spend.
they wouldn't have predicted this season for themselves a few years back, would they?
No,
When they're in the depths, they were playing at Northampton at one point, weren't they? I mean, they were out on their arse, So I think that and also my mind goes to I think Brentford before they got into the top flight. I think they went close a couple of years.
They had a few playoff,
where you think, they're a team that looked apart, and then they fell short in playoffs and whatever. So I think patience, not the greatest virtue.
Well, no, I'm the worst one for it because I would have known straight after a game. But then it is amazing how different it looks in the cold light of day. Because, like I say, Friday night it was a bit doom and gloom. People on social media saying, we could the gap to 7th place could be 6 points by Sunday night. What we're going to do then?
Yeah. Pressure takes its toll on everybody. I think that's the thing you tend to forget.
Well, look, Hull and Middlesbrough. I mean, they look like they're falling apart as well. I mean, Hull were 1-0 up at Sheffield United with 5 minutes to go, and ended up getting beat. Their form, like Middlesbrough's, is shocking. So everyone does get the jitters at this time of year because that's them along with us. That's 3 teams that have spent most of the season in the playoff places. Middlesbrough obviously fancied 2nd place, even top spot at one point, I think. And then when you start to see the finish line, you think, wouldn't it be awful if we cock this up? And maybe that possibly gets into people's heads. And every opposition is tough in different ways because they're either scrapping against relegation or the season's over and there's no pressure on them.
No, absolutely.
Everyone is a different tough game, and all the games are tough in the Championship. Who would have predicted that Coventry wouldn't score against Sheffield Wednesday?
Yeah, no, you can't. You wouldn't call that one, would you?
There's a team on the verge of winning the title, score more goals than
84 goals scored in the division. You think they're playing the weakest side?
Against a team who will finish with probably the worst Football League record ever.
Yeah. Well, they're in danger of going relegated with less points than they started with.
Yeah, and 35 games without a win. I mean,
I was just looking. I mean, it doesn't affect us, but there was a story just before Merv came on and I came on the recording. West Bromwich Albion also in the financial they've got issues with the EFL. They may get a points deduction now as well, which could take them back into trouble. They pulled away slightly, but don't know if that's going to would that be applied this season. Well, it should be if they're going to be fair.
I think it does, but
when did fairness come into football, Merv?
Yeah. People have been predicting West Brom's demise for a while because they're one of these cases where the parachute payments run out and then they start gambling and start sort of spending money they shouldn't. And
that's one thing I will say: if we do make it to huge if, but I do have more faith in our management and our financial setup not to go down these kinds of the dark roads of overstretching yourself. I think we've got more structure, more sensible kind of management now. Let's fingers crossed. Because so many clubs get up. I mean, Luton are celebrating winning the it's not called the paint trophy anymore, but it's
EFL trophy or something. Yeah,
the virtue trophy or something. But they've gone from the Premier League down to that.
I know.
You don't want to get into that, do you?
I was watching that, and I'm not sure. Well, I'm sure Luton fans will enlighten us. I'm not sure what they did that wrong, but maybe they got up there too quickly, and that's probably a
That's another thing, isn't
a
it?
warning
Yeah.
tale. You know, maybe they got up 1 or 2 seasons too early, but I remember their mantra was they weren't going to go mad. They were going to just, be
Yeah.
sensible and consolidate and keep the sort of short-term future of the club secure. And they had a new ground plan, and yet they
That's
dropped
right.
the
Yeah.
donut. So, like I say, I'm sure Luton fans will fill us in on that and why
They
that is. But yeah,
they clearly didn't over. There's a balance, I suppose. You got to try and survive
exactly.
there.
Yeah, they're obviously too careful, but
Come back from the championship soon afterwards or something. But then
yeah.
they've plummeted. But there we are.
Mm.
Just on the former Luton player, Alfie Doughty, I was just looking at or listening to the Alex Neil post match comments, and apparently he's not quite ready, but he's going to be one of the players, along with and we're hoping Billy.
Yeah.
And he also mentioned Raiz, who has become a bit of a forgotten man at the Den. Raiz Spangura. He's out with a calf injury, but how close he will be to impacting or not, I don't know. That's
Well, this is, and I'm wondering
bringing
if
these players back to the key, Merv.
he said that even Will Smallbone's season is far from over, but then I'm not sure what his eligibility for us will be in the playoffs.
No, I don't know.
Especially given he's on loan from Southampton.
Well, that's true. Yeah.
Yeah.
They might not want him fielded out there.
No, I'm not sure. I'm not sure. The lines are a bit blurry with loan deals, aren't they? But they tend to end at the actual end of the season. But yeah, that's gonna be messy.
Yeah.
With Southampton being involved. But I think certainly, like Billy Mitchell, we were led to believe his season was over. But I think this is why Alex Neil was thinking, right, well, he's penciling their returns in with the playoffs in mind rather than the last couple of games.
Yeah.
Perhaps get them in the last game. But that's why I think it's really important to just bury this second place fight, because I don't think we've got the fight in us for it.
No, I don't think we've got the depth for it. And just settle for the
settle for, I think 4th place would probably be good.
The cup ties of the playoffs, and we see where we go. Just before I let you go, Merv, I've been asking everyone the same question. Who did you vote for in the player of the season? Obviously, online, Jake Cooper seems to be favourite. Would that be your choice?
I couldn't see beyond Jake Cooper, to be honest. There's loads of brilliant candidates this season. Obviously, especially Femi Aziz and Tristan Crammer. So many. But for me, I think obviously he's been such a long-term servant of the club as well. And I just think he's really growing this season. One of my moans the last couple of years, the team seemed to be lacking a leader, and I feel like he stepped up and he is that leader.
He's come through on that front, hasn't he? Yeah.
Yes, without a doubt. And I think the players really look up to him. And he just seems to get, better and better, which at this level is, we're playing at the highest level since he joined us, which I think is about 10 years ago now, isn't it?
Yeah, that's right.
And he just keeps doing it. And obviously he weighs in with goals as well. He's just, So I think
that's who I voted for the same similar reasons.
He probably deserves it, I think. And I think it will be a bit of a landslide win. But certainly plenty of other players that deserve a mention.
Well, it's just interesting. I'm just looking at the last few players of the season. Obviously, it doesn't include Jake Cooper, but when you stop and think, you've got Sean Hutchinson was player of the season 2017-18, alongside Jake, of course. We got Bart Bielkowski behind Jake, Murray Wallace alongside Jake.
Ryan
Leonard, 22, 23, 4. Again with Jake as the common factor, I suppose, and in Japhet Tanganga last season with Jake. So it's high time, I think. All of those players were good because I think they played with Jake Cooper. I think that's the lesson I think most of us are probably learning over time, and I think he'd be a deserved winner. I think this looks like he's the popular choice online. But there we go, Merv. Queen's Park Rangers next Saturday. We'll probably have a clearer picture where we stand after tomorrow night's game between.
A lot of it's sorted out now. Definitely, it could hopefully get quite boring now. In that by Saturday tea time, everything's pretty much done and dusted, and it's
starting to shake out.
Jostling for who goes where. But I mean, I just think it's for the benefit of the team not to have that sort of second place race hanging up.
The fever.
I think it maybe has knocked them. I think it's knocked us all a little bit. I think we've all become a little bit obsessed with it, and it's probably been a bit counterproductive.
Fantastic stuff, Merv. You and me will talk again next week after the QPR game. But dear listeners, do stay tuned. We've got voicemails after these messages. Thanks a lot, Merv.
So good, so good, so good.
New markdowns up to 70% off are at Nordstrom Rack stores now. And that means so many new reasons to rack.
Because I always find something amazing.
Just so many good brands.
Because there's always something new.
Join the Nordy Club to unlock exclusive discounts, shop new arrivals first, and more. Plus, buy online and pick up at your favorite Rack store for free. Great brands, great prices. That's why you rack.
TaxAct understands you haven't memorized the tax code. That's why TaxAct has live experts to help. TaxAct can even do it for you if you prefer. It's the easiest way to know you're doing it right. Well, other than going back to college and obtaining a bachelor's degree in accounting with a minor in finance, then interning somewhere and becoming fluent in all tax forms. But that might be hard to accomplish before tax day. So maybe just stick with TaxAct. TaxAct. Let's get them over with.
You don't wash your jersey during a win streak. You don't switch seats when your team's up big. And you definitely don't shave during the playoffs. When things are working, you don't change them. That's why when you drink Jägermeister, you drink it ice cold. Anything else? Well, that'd just be bad luck. Drink it cold or don't drink it at all. Jägermeister. Damn, that's cold. Drink responsibly. Jägermeister liqueur, 35% alcohol by volume. Imported by Mast Jägermeister, U.S. White Plains, New York.
We all have that dream trip we've been wishing we could go on. But too often, life, or usually price, gets in the way. That's why Priceline is here to help you turn your dream trip into reality. With up to 60% off hotels and up to 50% off flights, you can book everything you need for your next adventure. Don't just dream about that next trip. Book it with Priceline. Download the Priceline app or visit Priceline.com and book your next trip today.
Go to your happy price, Priceline.
Hello?
Evening, Nick Hart, Rob Abbott. Just left the Hawthorns. Sitting in my car for the long trip back to Sidcup, over for 3 or 4 days, visiting my family. 0-0. We didn't play that well, did we? At all. But look, we got a point. If we're looking at the top two now, obviously we need favours, and I think our only hope is to win the last 4 games and get 85 points. If we drop any more points, I can't see the top two happening. And will we stutter our way into the playoffs? People say you need a bit of form going into the playoffs, but you only have to look at Sunderland last year. They didn't win any of their last 6 games, and they managed to get the job done. But at the moment we looked very tired the last half an hour of that game of football there. First half, there were spells where we looked quite good. I thought there were spells where we looked like an amateur team that just turned up to play a game of football and didn't really know each other. Misplaced passes, bad communication when we had the ball. But like I said, there was spells. And the best chance of the game, in my opinion, fell to Coburn. Unfortunately, he's missed a golden chance. It's the first big golden chance he's missed since probably Charlton at home. Not too sure why he went with his foot quite high. I thought he would have gone bent over with his head. But look, apart from that, Ivanovic had an opportunist chance where he's hit the crossbar. We didn't have much of the football, did we, in the second half? I think taking off Coburn killed any sort of hope we sort of had, because the ball wouldn't stick with us at all. And would I say we were hanging on? No, they had one golden chance that Patterson saved, but they had so much football, but they didn't look like they were going to create many good chances. So 0-0 it is. Look, we have an 8-day break. I think we need it. A few mentions of players. I thought Taylor was immense against his old club. Cooper did well. I think he could do a bit better on the ball some of the occasions. And then, Negley, I thought was very good playing in the centre of midfield. He was here, there and everywhere as well. He had a really good game. And I also thought Derek, when he came on for Casper, played very well. mopped up a lot of second ball, etc. Casper looked knackered as well. But look, 1 point, a long unbeaten away run continues, and we need a few favours, and we've got to win the last 4 games to have any hope. Hope all is well. Take care.
Nick, Aussie Dave, after the West Bromwich Albion game, I would describe it as disappointing, but not unexpected. I'm sure other callers will go into detail the games. I just want to look at some other things. Just some of the players. We all know Aziz and Kramer now have been well off now for half a dozen games, and they're desperate to have a rest because really it's our main creative force. The Coburn injury, bit of a worry, but there's no way we can progress without him being fully fit. I gave a slight groin strain, fingers crossed. Ballo, I thought he had a promising return, particularly in the first half, and I suspect will be your first choice for the next game anyway. And it's good we've got someone left, and maybe then bring Negley inside, which they did against West Brom. And I think it was quite inventive. The only other player I want to look on is Bannon. I'm not quite sure why he's not got more time. I'm actually a big fan. I think he can bring that extra creativity that our midfield is actually lacking, though Negley provides it. So that's the players. Couple of other issues. The squad, I think we all know, beyond about 12, 13 players, the rest of the players are pretty grey. Look at the bench against West Brom. We had 3 full-backs. Danny Mack, Lenny and Bryant, and we've got another fullback injured. So, and particularly, we didn't have a third striker. I wouldn't call Langstaff that. We need another biggie up front, and didn't get one in January, and now we're paying for it. About our prospects for the top 2 and playoffs, I think we can forget about the top 2. I thought that after the Norwich game, the top 6, I think we'll make it, but as soon as we qualify, we've got to rest some players and maybe get a couple of youngsters who we can maybe at least have them on, particularly forwards, let them experience a game where we may need them in the finals. We've only, and our prospects, I don't think we've played well for a while now. We've had little purple patches, and particularly Aziz and Kramer, they need to come on board. And hopefully this is just a patch we're going through. Overall, I think we're having a great season. And this is, to be honest, I think one of the best opportunities to go up with all the relegation teams struggling. We've basically got where we are with extreme 110% team effort and a good tactical manager. That may be enough. Just avoid Southampton in the playoffs and maybe the final. Well, on to QPR, another must win. Come on, you Lions.
Oh, hi, Nick. It's Martin Colwell. Hope you're well. Just giving my thoughts after the West Brom game that I watched on Sky. Thought we were okay the first half, if a bit lethargic. Had some decent chances, really, and couldn't take them. And that's always tricky, isn't it? Didn't think we were playing particularly well, but we had chances against the West Brom team who were well organised, but no well beaters, a bottom half team. And teams you have to beat if you have aspirations to, go places. Second half was a bit flat. I was interested to see Tierno Ballo play. Who played all right, putting a couple of good crosses, didn't he, and worked hard. Thought the best players on the pitch were the goalkeeper, Caleb Taylor, and the captain. And I'd give man of the match fractionally to the goalkeeper. But apart from those 4, I thought everyone was average. Thought Coburn was off his game. Ivanovic was in and out, had some shots at goal, and he may be coming back into form, but thought the rest of them were pretty mediocre, really. And the second half, we deteriorated a bit, didn't we? And West Brom came more into the game. We made some subs, and that kind of showed that we really haven't got, that much that can make a difference when we bring players on, didn't it? You know what I mean? It's kind of, there was nothing there. And the lack of another striker that we didn't sign in January, that we always say about this, don't we? It's just, just showing up more and more now. But yeah, we battled well. Didn't look like a top 6 team, but maybe we're just running out of steam a bit. And I think now we just need to consolidate our place into the playoffs and then try to get players like Femi Aziz, etc. back into form. Hopefully we can get Billy Mitchell back for those playoffs. And even maybe Massimo Luongo, because we need that sort of player in the middle there to do the donkey work in front of the two centre-halves, don't we? Because I don't think that's Casper's role. I think his role comes a bit more forward. But yeah, I mean, at the end, they've only looked like one team winning it, didn't it? And it was West Brom, albeit they didn't have, much up front, did they? That they couldn't really... you weren't too worried about their strikers, were you? But yeah, I mean, see, we need the rest now, but then we've got 3 games in a week because we've got Saturday, Tuesday, Friday. So you get the rest and then you have to go with the 3 again, don't you? And that's going to be hard. What we need to do is get that win against QPR, and then that gives us another 3 points. Then try to pick up, maybe 1 win out of the 2 in the next 2 games to consolidate that place, because Southampton are going to come through, and really it's Wrexham and Hull, isn't it, who are going to then push us if anyone's pushing us. But yeah, I'm not being pessimistic about making the playoffs, but we still need to do the work to get there, don't we? Because the top 2 has gone now. We're not going to be good enough to come back and win all our matches and let other teams fall off, really. Ipswich are going to finish second now. But yeah, it's going to be hard work now, isn't it? But we need to be positive. As I say, we need to try to get the players we need back fit and keep the players fit. And, in those 3 games, we're going to have to play Barry Bannon in 1, and we're going to have to play Macaulay Langstaff in 1 and do that sort of thing. But I think we should really just put the best team out against QPR, try to get that win, and then, perhaps at Stoke do something else. But anyway, that's not for me to decide. That's Alex Neil. So all the best, and come on, you Lions.
Huge thank you to Martin, and before Martin, Aussie Dave and Rob Abbott. I mean, all of the messages, and I think all of the views of the support that I've picked up online, dear listeners, revolve around the same thing. I mean, we've got a good... We're healthy when we're fully fit. We've got a good starting 11. Our depth of squad, I said it to Merv earlier on, no new revelations on this show, dear listeners. But our depth of squad is where we will fall short. I personally believe that, subject to tomorrow night's fixture between Ipswich and Portsmouth, is it at Pompey or is it at Portman Road? I can't remember which way round it is. But depending on the outcome of that, if Ipswich win it, then we need to start to now manage our way through, ready for playoff football at the end of the season. And as Merv said earlier on in this show, in Alex Neil, we do have one of the best managers for those kinds of post-season situations that's around. He's achieved success in various places. But I do think we'd start to need to manage and try to rebuild the squad to try and achieve some form. I think it was Dave mentioned the Kramer and Aziz tail off that we've had recently, and I think it's fatigue, it's mental fatigue, as much as it is any physicality. I mean, they're all fit blokes, but I do think that the combination of pressure and mental fatigue, and also leaving it all on the pitch at places like Middlesbrough and Ipswich, these were 2 huge situations, both. And we gave everything we had to give, and it doesn't leave much in the in reserve for games that should be more routine. But still, you've got to work hard for them. So anyway, we're coming towards the business end of the season. I do think now a little bit more canniness by the club will start to come in as these fixtures ahead. We need one more win really to totally assure player football. I do think with other results around us, it'd have to be a very Millwall outcome for us to fail to achieve playoff football. I'm sure the football gods are rolling up laughing at me now for saying that. We're going to go up to some adverts now with the inimitable one and only Bobby T.
Yeah, morning, Nick. I'm sorry, it's 2:30 in the morning, just got back into London. I might as well get it off my chest now because to win football matches, you need to score goals. And if you don't take your chances in football, you pay the fucking price. And that's what it is, mate. Millwall just didn't want it. We bottled it, whatever you want to say. 2 points dropped against a poor West Brom side. If Lamppost scores that, we win the game. Mihailo hits the bar. It's like it's just not his day. Great, And then Negley impressed me. The only one, Patterson, for me, who stood out. Otherwise, none of them they've gone off. Femity's gone off the boil. Ballo was a shadow. Then he started. Yeah, fine. The rest is history, right? We go again, QPR. It's not on our hands. Come on, Canaries. But it's just not clicking for us. We had the chance. We don't want it. We don't even deserve to be in the playoffs and all that. Can't beat West Brom, And they're a good side. They're on an unbeaten run, but players didn't want it. Taylor got bullied. Crammer got bullied. Sturge don't want to move forward. Ballo wasn't providing width. The list goes on. Our midfield was non-existent. We got overrun. Yeah, we missed Billy. Saka's too young. Kundal, don't rate him. And that's it. That's it. Well, that's it. Bobby signing or Bobby T. Achtung Millwall deflated. See you Saturday. Bye for now, Bobby T.
Eczema is unpredictable, but you can flare less with Ebglyss, a once-monthly treatment for moderate to severe eczema. After an initial 4-month or longer dosing phase, about 4 in 10 people taking Ebglyss achieved itch relief and clear or almost clear skin at 16 weeks. And most of those people maintain skin that's still more clear at 1 year with monthly dosing.
Ebglyss, lebrikizumab LBKZ, a 250 milligram per 2 milliliter injection, is a prescription medicine used to treat adults and children 12 years of age and older who weigh at least 88 pounds or 40 kilograms with moderate to severe eczema, also called atopic dermatitis, that is not well controlled with prescription therapies used on the skin or topicals, or who cannot use topical therapies. Ebglyss can be used with or without topical corticosteroids. Don't use if you're allergic to Ebglyss. Allergic reactions can occur that can be severe. Eye problems can occur. Tell your doctor if you have new or worsening eye problems. You should not receive a live vaccine when treated with Ebglyss. Before starting Ebglyss, tell your doctor if you have a parasitic infection.
Ask your doctor about Ebglyss and visit ebglyss.lilly.com or call 1-800-LILY-RX or 1-800-545-5979.
K-pop Demon Hunters, Haja Boys breakfast meal and Huntrix meal have just dropped at McDonald's. They're calling this a battle for the fans. What do you say to that, Rumi?
It's not a battle. So glad the Saja Boys could take breakfast and give our meal the rest of the day.
It is an honor to share.
No, it's our honor.
It is our larger honor.
No, really. Stop.
You can really feel the respect in this battle. Pick a meal to pick a side.
Ba-da-ba-ba-ba. At participating McDonald's while supplies last.
This episode is brought to you by Ferrero. Soccer's biggest stage is approaching, and Ferrero is making it easy to go all in. Pick any 2 Ferrero brands from Kinder Bueno to Ferrero Rocher, and you could win the $1 million grand prize, plus an exciting range of daily and weekly prizes. Don't miss your shot. Official rules apply. Learn more at goallinandwin.com.
It's deck days at Lowe's, and the savings are stacked. Right now, pros get 15% off all in-stock composite decking from top brands like Trex, TimberTech, and Decorators. Plus, get a free DeWalt 20-volt max 5-amp-hour battery when you buy a select DeWalt tool. The deck's stacked in your favor with brands pros trust. Our best lineup is here at Lowe's. Valid through 4/22 while supplies last. Selection varies by location.
Achtung, Millwall.
Well, that was a tough point on the road, I have to say, and also an arduous journey for some of us. We drove up, and the M25 was shut, Sevenoaks to Bromley, or Sevenoaks to Orpington, and then coming back, we were supposed to, we'd booked a hotel at Junction 12 Services to give us a break. And the M40 was closed, so we had to go to Bicester. So I'm calling you from the hotel room in Bicester, the Travelodge. Nice little place, but it was our stable for the night. But yeah, back to the game. Well, Alex Neil rolled the dice again with the 2 up front, and I must say it does leave our midfield light. But there you go. He rolled the dice, and really, to be honest with you, watching the replays and watching it live, I'm not sure how Josh Coburn missed that opportunity, the crossing from Ballo. Absolutely not sure at all. And then Ivanovic in the same half with a beautiful shot, clipped the bar again. He's winning the crossbar championship, isn't he, Ivanovic? But yeah, it was a battling performance, a point on the road. There's not a lot you can say really. I mean, our squad is looking a bit threadbare. Danny Mack came on as left back at the end, with I think Joe Bryan going off. Zach Sturge went off as well, so we got sort of a lot of revolving substitutes. It's a bit surprised Barry Bannon didn't start, to be honest with you. I reckon that was a game made for him because they were going through the middle quite easily. Casper Denori is well off the pace at the moment again. Didn't really see him do anything, and he's got to be busier in that midfield. If he's not busy, then we struggle. We're missing Billy Mitchell so much. We really are. It just shows you, doesn't it? The backroom boys, the cogs in the team, all the people that say, "Oh, pass it forward," all Billy Mitchell, and when's he going to score a goal? They don't know what they're talking about. They really don't. You take a player like him out of the equation, and you suffer. And there you are. We're struggling big time. So, I mean, Norwich are playing Ipswich today. We're second in the table, but Ipswich have played, I just had a look, Ipswich have played 39 games, we played 42. So, again, we might be second now. I don't know where we're going to be at the end of today. Everyone seems to be playing today. But we keep going forward, and it's a point on the road. I mean, we could have won it so easily. West Brom could have won it, really, but they had absolutely no quality at all, as far as I could see. And the only areas that I think we need to really tighten up on is our defence of the box. I was watching one passage of play, and we tried to cross the ball in from the left. I think it was in the first half, and West Brom kept the ball out of their box. They defended it on the edge of the box, and then we retained possession, switched play, tried to cross it in from the right, and again it was defended from the edge of the box, went out for a throw-in. We are weak on defending the edge of our box, I've noticed. We've given so many goals away around the D, patsy shots in, and we seem to drop so deep and let players actually get the ball into our box and then defend it from the 6 yard area, which for me is madness, really. I think we need to push higher. We're not pushing as a team. We need more orchestration. We are reliant on the front two pressing, but the midfield doesn't press behind them, and it just leaves massive gaps. So we're disjointed. So I think we need to just focus on the basics, pressing as a team, working as a unit, and that's all we can do. But at the moment, I'm a bit concerned. I'm surprised teams ain't really burying us at the moment, and that just shows a lack of quality of the other teams. I'm still amazed at the Middlesbrough result. We have been riding our luck on all these results, Hull, Ipswich, Middlesbrough, and we got found out at home a couple of times. So I think he's doing as good a job as he can. I think the players are doing as good a job as they can. They seem to be low on energy, and I think our next game is QPR at home, so that's a good rest period for them to recoup, get a bit of energy back, have a rest, and go again against QPR. We're still in with a fight. I see us making the playoffs. I still don't see number 2 spot as a possibility, as a real possibility. Norwich might pull off something at Ipswich today. That's definitely a possibility. So who knows? But personally, I think it's playoffs, here we come. And I can't see us getting past teams like Southampton. So I'm not being negative. I'm just being realistic. I'm trying to manage my expectations. I'm enjoying the ride. It's good being a supporter. And we go on to QPR. Come on, you Lions.
I just want to come in and say well done to all the 2,500 Millwall fans that made it up to West Brom last Friday night, 8 o'clock kickoff in Birmingham. No easy means to get back home, as John's just described so well. People staying over. Both Bobby and John were there, and you can hear from those two messages sent in the dead of night how much time and effort and commitment people will put in to support their club. The likes of the EFL don't give a shit about that, and it's all about TV money and all the rest of it. We all know that, and I suppose to some extent, if you want the dough in the game, you have to accept that. There's nothing much you can do about it. But I think it's just worth pausing to say well done, each and every person that made it up there to the Hawthorns. You were very, very audible on the TV feed. I couldn't make it Friday night for various reasons. I had a family thing to do, and watched it on telly. But it came across well. So well done, everybody. Scant consolation when you've watched the second half or we've been on the back foot. I think just to touch on some of John's points, what a lot of this comes down to this season particularly, and we may have to sell in the summertime. I'm going to presume that we don't make second. I think that's probably odds on realistically now, as John has just said. It's an outside possibility, but we've got to be real. And the playoffs are cup ties, and you can win or lose, and we do have a good manager for them in Alex Neil. So, I'm not dismissing the idea that we can get some success in the playoffs. Far from it. But the flip side of that is that you don't make it. We have to reinforce our squad, listeners. I think what's happened this season, we've got some good players, we've signed some good players, and we've developed some good players. But we need to have at least one more player for each position, ideally, that can come in to cover injuries, suspensions and fatigue, as we've seen in these recent games. I can see players moving out in the summertime. Other teams seem to have cottoned on to Femi and Tristan as a threat down the right side. Both of those players have got to somehow find ways to work around the fact that other teams will double up on them now and try and squelch them in games. That's what's been happening in recent matches. But that's up to them professionally to find ways to deal with that. That's what the best players can do. We've got to strengthen elsewhere. We've got to come more down the left. I thought Ballo did okay for some of the game on Friday night. He's a youngster. But we've got to develop threats from different areas of the pitch. And the only way you're going to do that is probably sell and then look to sign some of the more jewels in the rough that we've been a bit of a specialist in finding in recent seasons. None of that is bad news, but equally that may be the thing that pulls us up short come the playoffs. So I think that's where we're bound. I don't think that we're going to fall away from the playoffs. The results have combined to leave us in, as we said at the start of the show with Merv. But longer term, that's what we've got to start thinking about. Anyway, big thank you, Bobby, and to John. I'm going to play the remainder of the show out now with the remaining voice notes. Big thank you to everybody for sending this content in. I really appreciate it. It makes really nice shows, and I think they're popular shows. So keep them coming, boys. And if you want to join in the voicemail posse, do give me a shout on X at achtungmillwall. We can exchange mobile numbers. But I'm going to play now in alphabetical order. We're going to go with Adam Wicks, Barnsey, Glyn Horner, Hassan, Jim Hackett, Lawrence Binney, Mark Willoughby, and Rob Woodford. That's first name alphabetical order if you think I don't know my alphabet, and I am getting old and it does get a scramble after a time. Anyway, take it away, Adam. I will see you all, dear listeners, after the QPR game. Until then, from me, Nick Hart, it's Arrivederci Millwall. Thanks for listening. Really appreciate it. Bye for now.
Morning, Nick. Just Adam Wicks here, just leaving my thoughts after last night's 0-0 draw away at West Brom. An underwhelming and disappointing performance. I think only compounded by all the excellent motorway closures on the M40 and M25 on the way home, which made things 10 times worse getting home. I'm sort of feel a little bit again, I think, like I said in my last voice note, I don't want to be too harsh. I think what we're seeing unfold now is a team that has punched above its weight, I think, for the majority of the season. We've had players that have been in rich veins of form for chunks of that season that now are not. And I think what it highlights for me is, well, it's two things really. One, these players have been performing probably at their sort of max level for a lot of the season, and now they're not. And two, we are incredibly light in midfield. I mean that in the sense of, in terms of bodies and just in terms of physical presence. Denor looked to me like he was playing injured yesterday. He was really struggling to get about. I don't understand. Like, if we're looking like we're potentially going to be playoff bound, hopefully if we can, we can get enough points to maintain our position. We're going to need a fit Casper with whoever we come up against. If he's anywhere like the condition he is at the minute, and Billy isn't firing on all cylinders, I think we're finished before we've even started. We just had absolutely no control. We couldn't. I mean, they were just playing through us through the middle. And we were just, it just felt like we were just back to resorting to like hopeful football a lot of the time, which was, just disappointing. I think, there's some players in the team that are clearly way out of form at the minute. And I think, a couple of them could do with being taken out of the team just to give them a mental break or something, just to try and reset a little bit and hope that they can, just re-energise themselves for whatever's coming down the track. It's a real shame. I think, we're obviously found ourselves in an unexpected position. I think of the club's objectives, I can't imagine would have been to even challenge the top two, let alone be within, striking distance really at this point of the season. So we've done amazingly well to be in the position we're in. I just worry that we're gonna run out of steam completely, and whoever we come up against in the playoffs, if we turn in a performance like we did yesterday or Monday, or some of these first half performances we've been getting away with, we're going to be out of a 2-leg tie after 45 minutes, and it'll be over. The whole set of the season will be over because we're just lacking the intensity and bite and quality that we were displaying earlier. And I don't think it's anybody's. There's no one to blame. It's not anyone's fault. It's just where we are, and we're at the limits of what's possible with the squad quality, squad depth, and the league we're in. And that's not necessarily a negative. I think just to finish, I think we have performed seriously above what any of us probably would have expected at the start of the season. We'd be hoping to be challenging for maybe that 6th or 5th spot. We're above that. So it's been excellent. So I think just everyone just try. I know it's hard, but just try. We've got to try and keep our heads up and stay positive and try and build some momentum going into those playoffs, because it's going to be, after what's been an amazing season with lots of amazing moments, it's got potential to, to end up finishing slightly negatively, which I think would be a shame after all the effort that's gone in. Anyway, that's it from me. On to QPR, I think, next, isn't it? Come on, you Lions.
Hello, Nick. It's Barnesy here. I thought I'd give a little feedback on the game last night. I think we're all a bit down. I know we were down after Norwich, but I think we're a bit more down now. I think I was pleased with the first half. I thought they played reasonably well, and obviously if Coburn puts that chance away, just going back to the start of the game, I thought, to see Ballo in there, and obviously in front of Watson, that sort of says it all really. I think he's not a player that Alex Neil fancies to play from the start, and if you look at his record when he did start, he doesn't really. I think we've lost the games, but nice. Ballo come back in. I thought he played all right. I thought he played quite well actually and set up the chance. But unfortunately, Coburn, as I say, if he went with his head more than his feet, he might have scored. But, his ball comes across very quickly. And we can't slag that man off because he's been excellent for us. But like I say, if we put that chance away, it could be a different game because that would have taken, a lot of pressure off us and put pressure on them to get to come at us. And then obviously, I think we looked very comfortable first half. I thought, Crammer was struggling a little bit again, but I think he got his act together in the second half. I think missing Billy, as I said, the last game, is a massive loss to us. But Negley comes in and does a good job. Casper looked better. And I was, normally it's the other way around, isn't it? Second half, we come out with, this is it now. And obviously just before that, Ivanovic hits that shot. What a great effort that was. Unfortunately, didn't dip enough. But that goes in, could be 2-0. And then I think we would see the game out, but that wasn't to be, was it? And then second half starts, very hopeful. I was very relaxed. I was not worried at all, got to be honest. I really thought we'd come out and turn the screw a little bit, but it was sort of the opposite way, wasn't it, really? We didn't really create anything. And, the chances fell to Watson, the cross from Langstaff. And that was what I can really remember of the second half of us chance-wise. And then obviously Patterson got us out of jail with that save from Malumbi, which was a great save. Seriously worried about Coburn. Hearing Austin to come off with a groin problem, which I hope is not too bad. But I think, a point away from home is decent. But at this time, I think, to be honest, I think it's got to be playoffs for us. Another couple of wins will be fantastic, and then we're solid. But I can't see Ipswich with 3 games in there blowing this. But I think, for me looking back, I think maybe maybe it's me. I don't know. I think with us, we were in amongst it, and January was a chance where we could have maybe gone for it a little bit more in the transfer market. Hindsight and all that rubbish. But I think. We're relying on 2 very, very young central strikers to stay fit and do the job. Maybe a little bit more experience would have come in there, like a Dion Dublin, like years ago when we went up with Cahill and Harris, etc. Someone like that to come in and just steady the ship and do a job in the second half. Come on. But he obviously doesn't fancy Bannon, does he? But I know he wants legs around him, but Sheffield Wednesday didn't have legs around him, did they? I don't know, but he's obviously not fancied with him and Casper in there. But yeah, I think on paper, if you look at the team, our best 11 is going to be challenging. But I think the squad is not as strong as... We've got bodies, but they're not as strong as the 11 that start, that the best players, and they come in and do a job. And they've all been brilliant this year, every single player that's done us proud. But I really think that the depth in our squad is not good enough. And I think that's where we've been found out. And the gutting thing is, if we don't make it, we've got a great squad and we can build on it, but we are going to lose players. And that's the heartbreaking thing, I think, for us, because we know we're going to keep our best players if we go up. And if we don't, we're going to lose them. And I think that's where we're all really upset about this fantastic season we're having. Because if we can keep these big players, I don't know if Ipswich have done a masterstroke with unsettling Femi with that bid, because he doesn't look the same player. I'm hearing he's got a calf issue, but he doesn't look the same player, does he? And it is unsettling. But any footballer, get your head down and get on to the end of the season, try and get us up, and you can still get that big move. But since that, he hasn't been a player, has he? And he's a massive talisman, hasn't he? Being down that right hand side with Crammer, they've been both excellent. And they look shattered, absolutely knackered. And on the left, we're too weak. And that's how we score goals. But we're, a bit disappointed, very down about it. But we've got to remember what a season we've had. And to be challenging this time of year, it's been absolutely fantastic. But it's just a little bit gutting and that we can't push on. But that's where big teams have the big players to come in. 10, 15 million pound player that's just sitting on the bench waiting to come on. We haven't got that, unfortunately. We've got Langstaff, who's we love, but just hasn't got that knack in front of goal and can play on his own. But I think we've missed a trick in January, but, hindsight, were we going to be where we are now in that time? I don't know. I don't think so. But we have been, and we've got to be proud of the boys and proud of support up there again. And, a little bit down, but we go again, QPR, Derby, which I think is something we need. Get the crowd up for this. Come on, Mill, start fast and get the crowd behind you, because if we don't start fast, everyone gets nervous. The crowd doesn't get behind you. But I think the Millwall fans have really got to start lifting this team and get them over the line, because they need us and we need them. Anyway, mate, take care.
Hey Nick, Glyn here. So, as promised, short comments from the West Brom game. I think oddly this time we had a stronger first half than we did second half, and I noticed during the second half just the huge gap that there was between the front two and the midfield. And I think you could see Alex Neil was getting quite frustrated and trying to tell the team to push up and close that gap. And whether it's tiredness, fatigue, or a sort of lack of understanding of the tactics, they seem to struggle with that until substitutions were made, and then the team were able to sort of join up a bit. Ivanovic did well. He was very unlucky not to score. Coburn obviously missed that chance, but I think a bit more concerning for me was this just how little impact he had really up front. I mean, usually the ball sticks to him, or he bullies the defenders, and he'll hold the ball up so we can run onto it. Didn't see much of that from him today. I've got to say I was quite impressed in moments with Ballo. I wonder if maybe there's more to come from him with more game time. I hope that's the case, because we do need a threat down that left-hand side, and Tommy Watson for me seems to come on, flitter around a bit, look very, sort of good on the eye, but not really do much. And sorry to say, but Femi Aziz, yet another game where he has failed to deliver the performances that we saw earlier in the season. I think what we've seen with Femi, and I'm starting to wonder now, is this sort of downturn in form and impact that I believe I've seen since January. I wonder if it's just because teams have just worked him out and they just double up on him now, whereas he would usually cut inside and send a cross or a shot in with his left foot. Now he cuts inside and there's another person waiting for him there. So it might just be that they've worked him out, and because we don't have an outlet on the left, it's much easier for opposing managers just to snub that out. I will praise Patterson. He's done really well. He's handling, he's coming off the line, controlling his box. There was a moment of hesitation, but I think Cooper could have helped with that as well. So I'm going to cut him some slack there. All in all, I think he had a good game. Anyway, I'm now committed to us being in the playoffs. I'm fine with that. And I hope now we just focus on getting our top players back, getting our fringe players fit, and give it some game time so they can actually impact the playoffs. Come on, you Lions.
Morning, Nick. It's Hassan here. Just leaving some thoughts and comments after the West Brom game last night. I watched it on a live stream. I'm in Portugal at the moment, and I'm just going to summarise probably the game on Monday as well. I think we just looked tired. I think the players have they've run out a bit of energy. I think they've run out a bit of ideas as well. I think last night was evident of that. I've got a feeling that I don't know the stat, but I know it's been a long time since we haven't scored a goal in a game, I believe. I might be wrong, but even the Sky Sports boys were saying the other day we generally score in every game. So I suppose West Brom could give themselves a pat on the back for keeping us out. But overall, as it's getting to the nitty-gritty of it, I think we're starting to... That train is starting to slow down a little bit, I have to say. Our flair players are looking very leggy. I look at Kramer, I look at Aziz, very influential throughout the season, but at the moment it's just starting to slow down a little bit. And I think Alex Neil, he's smart. I think he's going to concede second place and say, right, just get into the playoffs, and once we're there, we'll go again. I think that's what his plan is. I mean, second would be great, but I think it'll be a miracle if we finish second now. Looking at the other teams around us, everyone's looking at Ipswich. Really, I think it's theirs to lose. If you ask me, I think Borough are gone. They're probably in the same boat as us. I think they're running out of steam. And someone like Ipswich, with the resources they got, they should be finishing second. And I think we gave it a good go. It's funny, I'm leaving this voice note. We're actually second in the league. I feel like we're dropping out of the fucking playoffs altogether. So you never know, but I'll be very surprised if by the end of today we're still second. I know Ipswich got to go to Norwich. Norwich are a good side. Hopefully they can, do us a favour. And I think Middlesbrough home to Pompey. Again, Pompey are scrapping down at the bottom there. So you never know. But the long and short of it, still been a brilliant season. And I've been wanting to say this for the past couple of voice notes, but I keep forgetting to mention it. But I think that the plan from the board and from Alex Neil at the start of the season was to get into the top six. Whether it was to get promoted or not via the playoffs is another thing, but I reckon the target was to get into the playoffs and finish in the playoffs. The fact that we're in talk of automatic places is mental. I think, again, Alex Neil said that the other day, didn't he? That a journalist said to him, if someone said to you at the start of the season that you'd be in contention for second place, I think in his words, you're taking the piss, and he's probably right. So I'm going to end this voice note with a little bit of optimism. Even if we don't get promoted this season, if we get in the playoffs and lose in the semis or lose in the final, I believe that this board and this coaching staff will back Alex Neil again in the summer, whether it's by new signings or keeping current players and adding to it. I think next season will be our goal. This season will be great, but don't rule anything out. I think next season could be the one if it doesn't happen this time around. So stay positive, and there's still a lot of football to go, mate. I hope you're well. I'm looking forward to get back down the den against QPR. All the best, mate. Bye-bye.
Morning, Nick. Jim Hackett here. After last night's game against West Brom, I suppose it's one of those days where, what might have been and what could have been. But you know what? I was okay after the game. It was a game that we could have won. Probably didn't look like we were ever going to lose, but then we sort of held on for the last 5-10 minutes, and it could have gone that way. And in the past, it will have gone that way. But this year, there's a little bit more resolute defending, and we got there in the end. And as disappointed as it is just to pick up a point at this point, if we were on a normal season, we weren't so pushy for the top two side of things, I think we'd have been okay. But now that we're so close to what might be, then probably without 3 points, it sort of drives another nail in that automatic promotion box. But you know what, I looked at it afterwards, and when you look at it objectively, we're in a fantastic position. We need probably a win, maybe a couple of points even, just to get into the playoffs. And I think you could see with our squad last night that we do need our bigger players back. We need Billy to come back if possible. We need Arrivederci to be available. And, if we can get those firing and we can get some sort of legs into some of the players, then I think the playoffs are where we should be anyway. And, nobody's going to want to play us in the playoffs. I think our form over the season has been pretty strong, and we've benefited from a lot of good results where possibly it's been the luck of the draw that's got us over the line. Some of the goals we've scored to get the winners have been those sort of goals. Last night, it wasn't our night. Coburn's miss and then Ivanovic hitting the bar. They're the little things that make the difference. I think the one against Ipswich where Ivanovic hit the bar, if it had been an inch lower on both sides, then we'd have sort of walked away with another 5 points or 4 points or whatever it would have been. So overall, I'm not too despondent about things. I know reading online and listening to people, then people are moaning and groaning about things, but just put it in perspective. We're in a fantastic position, and now it's about getting ready for those playoffs. I think if we happen to win our last 4 games and still get in the automatic promotions, great. But if not, then we're in a position where we'd have snatched people's hands off at the beginning of the season to talk about the playoffs, let alone be in them. And we're looking good enough for the playoffs. And I don't think anybody will want to be playing us when it comes to those big games, because they're the ones that Alex Neil tends to shine in. And, it might be over, the 2 legs and we get beat, but at least we'll have had our season. And it's it's that little positivity. I think that everybody's got to keep going and just hope we can get some reward at the end of the day. And I think at the moment the reward is probably getting into the playoff positions, and then it's a lottery as to where we end up. And I think last night was probably a prime example of our season in terms of sort of ups and downs. And last night wasn't a down, but it certainly wasn't an up that it could have been and might have been a few weeks ago. But some of our players are looking a little bit, I don't know, I can't say they've been found out, because they haven't been found out. I think they're just, they're playing on sort of automatic pilot, some of them. I'm looking at Femi and Kramer on the right-hand side, that sort of ability they had earlier in the season to get at teams and get past and work the ball down the side channels isn't working at the moment. And obviously it could be that other teams have worked that out. So what we've got to try and do is get it on the other side. And to be fair to Ballo last night, for the first sort of half an hour, 40 minutes, him and Sturge looked quite dangerous down the left-hand side. And he put a great ball in that Coburn could have put in, didn't put in. But if he had have done, then, everybody would have been happy that Ballo was playing. And he just ran out of steam like all our sort of bigger players at the moment. I think the one we're missing is Billy. But if it means a couple of games where we miss him again and we still get in the playoffs, then he's going to come back nice and fresh. Alfie Doughty gives us that point of difference when he is on the left-hand side, that possibly the quality and the quality of some of Sturge's crossing and what you get off Alfie Doughty, it's chalk and cheese. And, what Alfie lacks in athletic ability, I suppose, he certainly gives you with the ball at his feet. So, they're the areas that I think we're struggling. I thought Negley had a fantastic game last night. It doesn't seem to matter where he plays. He seems to do a decent job. And in the centre of the park, he just has the tendency to get on the ball and use it and not look panicked with anything. So I'm very happy with him last night. And Casper looked like he's getting back to what he can do in the first half. I thought those two did extremely well in the middle of the field. Our defence, first half, looked a little bit ropey, and I don't know what it is, but we don't seem to be able to sort of look comfortable at the moment. And I just wonder, and it could be sort of against everybody's wishes, but I just wonder if it's worth putting Leonard in at right back and just giving Kramer a rest for a game or two, or does he keep him in until we get the points and then put Lenny in? But I do think Leonard gives us that sort of difference again that we might be needing at the moment, because I think teams have worked Femi and Kramer out, and maybe Lenny going in there will give us something different slightly. And obviously we've got those long throws that you can put in as well. So, for me, I think the team is what it is at the moment. He's probably trying to rotate players. He's having to rotate some of them because of the injuries, but ultimately he's got to get what he gets out of the players he's got. And, I'm not too despondent about all this. I'm just looking now, see where we go. If we can get one win out of the next 4 games, great. If we get a couple of points, that should be enough for the playoffs. And then I think where we go in the playoffs will really be dictated to by the Alex Neil system that he wants to play and whoever we get, because I think he's got enough in his locker to actually damage some of them teams. And we know ourselves that the bigger their game against the bigger players, against the bigger teams, our boys tend to show up a little bit more and have that passion and that will to win. And, the fans are doing their part this year. So let's keep it going on to QPR and come on, you Lions.
All right, Nick, it's Lawrence Binney calling in after West Brom 0, Millwall 0. Yeah, I think that's about right. Don't you think? I think both in terms of the result tonight, getting the result that we deserved, but also I think for our performances over the past 6 weeks or so, that feels about right. We're not an automatics team. I don't think we've quite got the quality. I don't think we're a million miles off, but I think fatigue and just a lack of depth has shown in the last. We're still very much in it mathematically, I think, but it felt today like, that was sort of like our last chance to really put ourselves amongst the favourites. So who knows? In a couple of games we could be talking about a reversal again. But yeah, we looked a bit spent tonight. I don't blame the players. I think they've given their all. We're just not quite good enough, and that's
I mean, that's perfectly fine. I mean, who expected us to be challenging for top 2 at the start of the season, or even a couple of months ago? You know, we'd have to fuck it up pretty monumentally now not to make the playoffs. So, you know, top 6 season, brilliant. I reckon if we, you know, if we're sort of 4 or 5 points out of it, come QPR or past that, I'll give a couple of players a rest, especially Aziz, I think he's looked a bit knackered, in a little bit, mentally knackered, I think. Give him a bit of a rest, bring Watson in, give him some game time, and experiment a little bit for the final few games, providing that is we're assured of the playoffs. I don't think it really matters where we finish in the playoffs. You know, we're not doing particularly fantastically at home, so I don't think finishing 3rd or 4th is any more of an advantage than finishing 5th or 6th. Perhaps less so, you could argue. So yeah, just let's take stock, go again in a month's time. Exciting times. And I'll be at least 30, 40 quid out of pocket. So thanks, Mill. But yeah, let's see how we do. All right, cheers, Nick. Come on, you lines. Bye.
Hello, Nick. Mark Willoughby. Hope you're all good. Phoning in after the West Brom away game yesterday. Went up with my son Thomas and with my friend Mick. We had a not bad trip up. Dartford Tunnel was pretty bad, but apart from that, all good. Got to West Brom and managed to park right outside the ground, which was great. Had a chat with the attendant and found recommended a good pub. It's a kind of Wetherspoon sort of set up, but focusing, not surprisingly, in Birmingham on curry. Very good curry there, reasonable price. So we had that and beer or two. Wandered around down to the ground and took our places. Still no Billy, which was a bit of a concern. But you know, a strong lineup overall. I think we still look jaded overall, continuing on from the Norwich game. We were better in the first half than the second, but still didn't look totally at it. Kramer in particular looks mentally shot to me, and I think he needs a rest. I think he should maybe be maybe a week will do him good, but he looks a bit short of it at the minute. We weren't dominant in the first half, but our best chances were there. We're in that half for sure. Mika with a great shot, sort of lofted shot, and he hit the bar. He was unlucky. Second time he's hit the bar in a couple of weeks. Josh with the best chance. How it didn't go in, I do not know. It looked like a gilt-edged chance to me. I think it would maybe be unfair to put that in one of the Coburn howlers, but certainly I thought it was a very presentable chance and should have gone in. But there we go. We offered little in the second half. The highlight probably was a fantastic save by Patterson. I forgot to mention him last time when I was reporting on the Ipswich game that he had a worldie in that game, so tipping my hat to him retrospectively for that, and the save last night kept us in it there. Overall, not too many standout performances. Thought Josh was pretty good, doing his best to hold the ball up. Negley, his industry and touches for me probably made him my man of the match for us. But also a mention to Ballo in the first half. He was looking bright. Overall, good support, good banter with the home fans who were right next to us, so that was quite good. And a good point on the road, really. After the loss on Monday, it was important not to lose, I think, and I would have taken a point before the game. So happy enough with that overall. I think the thing, we were talking about on the way back is what happens now. Automatics, probably went on Monday, more so now. But, we still keep an eye on that, of course. They're be some twists and turns, but really it's now about playoffs. I guess Alex will just be looking at the cliche of each game as it comes, but he'll start to turn his attention, I guess, towards a bit of squad rotation to, so that people are fresh going into the playoffs. But he's also got to think about momentum. We don't want to go into the playoffs having a bad run. For me, I think not really too, if we don't play that well in the next couple of games, not too much of a problem. But I think it'd be nice if we could play well in the last couple, so go into the playoffs with a bit of momentum. That would be what I would try and look towards. Anyway, that's about it for me. Hope everything is all right with everyone. On to the next one. Come on, you Lions.
So, a somewhat unqualified voicemail from me this time, Nick. I didn't watch the game, thanks to Sky TV bastards for fucking up the fixtures again. But at least the Bootleg Beatles was a bastard great show, a 70th birthday gift from my kids, so I couldn't miss it, could I? Now, at last, I was brave enough to check on the result walking back to the car in the cold Chatham air, and on the face of it, it seemed like a good point on the road, especially as that was our third game in 7 days. Thanks again to them Sky TV bastards. Now, I've worked out that if Wrexham lose on Sunday and a win versus QPR next weekend would see us qualify for the playoffs for the first time ever since the parasite payments were introduced. I think that was about 2006, wasn't it? But, Ipswich are looking good for the remaining automatic spot now, getting a bit of help from referees I saw earlier. And the bookies will no doubt make Southampton favourites for the Wembley Showcase final. And, not without good reason, as the 3 highest goal scorers in our league are streets ahead of the rest of us. Coventry on 84, Ipswich 71, Southampton 70. I've been saying for 3 seasons how we lack firepower up top, but the kids are improving. And, I suppose it's best to fire blanks now than in the playoff semi-finals, eh? Looking ahead to next season, we are in desperate need of a goal-scoring midfield player. But how often do players like Keith Weller, Alex Ray, Tim Cahill come along? But I do believe in the project, the direction the club and the team are going. But let's just rock up next and beat QP. Ha, 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 ha. Come on, you Wall.
Achtung, Millwall.
Who do you want to watch?